Part 123. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1221. 2 hours passed. Xiao Xian's whole body was covered with a layer of red light, as if his whole body was surrounded by a red energy core. At the same time, earth-shaking changes also occurred within his body. Waves of extremely powerful power were constantly transforming his body every second, making his body continue to grow stronger. Meridians, muscles, and bones, blood vessels. Every part of the body has undergone a qualitative change under this power. If we say, the previous high-quality dragon body pill only improved his physical recovery ability. So this time, the energy core of Emperor Nagarjuna has greatly improved his body's ability to resist blows. Now, even if he stands motionless, the average little golden god realm cannot cause fatal damage to him. If combined with the movement technique of the time and space wall, even ordinary people in the golden god realm can't do anything with his powerful body. Good. He is truly a talented pervert. In just 2 hours, you have been tempered into the true body of Nagarjuna. It's shorter than I thought. Until the last ray of red breath penetrated into Xiao Xian's body. Xiao Lu also nodded and sighed. The body of Nagarjuna. Xiao Xian then opened his eyes, and he felt that there seemed to be red energy cores in his body that were constantly running, protecting every part of his body. Could it be that you got such a name just because you swallowed the Emperor of Nagarjuna? Isn't this a bit too casual? Xiao Xian joked. Humph. You kid really don't know how lucky you are when you're in the midst of all the blessings. Do you know how many people in the entire Nanzan Highs who are envious of your physique? Xiao Lu couldn't help but say, if they knew that such a body was taken away by you, a peak Kang Shen realm, I'm afraid they would die of envy. In response, Xiao Xian also smiled and remained non-committal. He punched out, and in an instant, he felt that the space in front of him seemed to be compressed. The sudden burst of power was extremely terrifying. Even if there are real powerful people in the Golden God realm here, they will be knocked back by the cyclone. Then use the Sirius sword to lightly cut his arm. As soon as the bright red blood flowed out, the restorative power brought by the exquisite dragon body pill in the body made the wound completely healed. The body of Nagarjuna. So scary. Xiao Xian couldn't help being shocked, and secretly sighed, with such a powerful body, who else can stop him from going to the flame cemetery? Don't be complacent yet. Don't you still have a heaven-level elixir? It's better to turn it in and swallow it. Xiao Lu said, if a large number of tomb soul vibrations really break out in the flame cemetery, I am afraid that those strong men in the Golden God realm will come out in full force and go to the tomb of the old man in the valley to explore the secrets. You must seize the time to improve your strength. You are now the peak strength of the Blue God realm is far from enough. Okay. I'll devour it now. Although Xiaolu's words were straightforward. But Xiao Xian also knew that this was the real reality. The flame cemetery is perilous. Not to mention the Tomb Spirit sect, Tomb Shen, and others who are the enemy, there are also other forces in the flame purpose, and what is even more terrifying is the power from the major sects of Zhongzhou. In the face of huge interests, these sects are basically their enemies. As for Xiao Xian and Bai Ling, they are indeed weak in the face of such an enemy. It is not easy to escape from the flame cemetery or even return with the treasure. The shadow of the ancient demon emperor, who was aggressive just now and took the initiative to charge towards Xiao Xian, was actually afraid. Just like a mouse seeing a cat, he immediately retreated away. Then come on. As a cultivator who has been cultivating on the edge of life and death for many years, Xiao Xian has encountered so many troubles. For him, such a small impact of the power of the great Dao, such an incident is not harmful at all. If he were an ordinary person, he would be afraid that the sea of qi would explode at this moment, and his body would explode in an instant. Swallow. Under the impact of these forces, it is very likely that the cultivator's body will be broken through in an instant, causing qualitative changes in the cultivator's body. Incredible power. But this time is different. Obviously, it was this ancient demon king who controlled the power of these avenues before. Ha ha ha. At the same time, these avenue powers seemed to be absorbed by the vortex, and crazily penetrated into Xiaoxian's body. Now, the control of the ancient demon emperor was broken, and the power of these avenues exploded instantly, directly attacking Xiaoxian's body. Xiaoxian said to himself, "Perhaps, ordinary people wouldn't know anything, but any smart person would know that it is by no means easy to obtain these powers. Let me see how powerful the bloodline of your ancient demon king is." The scattered power of the avenue also dispersed instantly. This was also an extremely precious treasure for Xiaoxian, and he immediately began to absorb it. The ancient demon emperor is nothing more than that. The situation changed in an instant. In an instant, the majestic power of the avenue exploded in his sea of energy like a torrent. Xiaoxian did not hesitate and swallowed the heaven-level elixir in one gulp. It seems that Master Tomb Spirit did not deceive me. He swallowed all these powers. It should not be a problem to upgrade his realm to the little golden god realm. Figure this out. A golden sea of energy is slowly forming. If you don't have a strong enough body. At this time, facing these forces, the sea of qi began to devour these forces crazily under compression. Xiaoxian faced the ancient demon emperor without the slightest fear. What's even more terrifying is that among such powerful and huge power, there is also a hideous and terrifying shadow of the ancient demon emperor. Xiaoxian didn't care. These warm powers of the avenue were slowly absorbed into his body and swallowed up one by one. Under Xiaoxian's capture. On the contrary, he circulated the source power in his body and grabbed a hand directly towards the ancient demon emperor. Even though he knew that the shadow of the ancient demon emperor in this heaven-level elixir was not the real ancient demon emperor at all, and was probably just a phantom left by the ancient demon emperor at that time, Xiaoxian also smiled slightly. Against such power. After that, because there was no longer the control of the ancient demon emperor's phantom power, come all. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1222. Another sleepless night. When the sky dawned, Xiaoxian also felt exhausted after a night of practice, and then slowly fell asleep. Wait until he wakes up. It's already afternoon. After walking out of the room, Xiaoxian also felt refreshed, and the power of the avenue in his body had increased to a higher level. More importantly, he clearly felt that his qi turned into a little bit of pale gold. This means that he has entered the realm of the little golden god and has his own understanding of the power of space above the great Dao continent. This is extremely important and is also one of the signs of entering the golden god realm. Although there is a small word on the front. But it is undeniable that his current strength is no longer on the same level as the previous peak of the blue god realm. Xiaoxian just went out. I also met Bai Ling, who was yawning. Although Bai Ling looked lazy, it could be seen that the power of the great Dao in her body was much more solidified than before. It was obvious that the heavenly elixir was also swallowed by her. Master, have you achieved the little golden god realm? Bai Ling just glanced at Xiaoxian, with a look of surprise on his face. Xiaoxian nodded slowly and said, "Yes, Master Tomb Spirit's heaven-level elixir is indeed extraordinary. It seems that this thing will be of great help to us." Say it. The disciples of the Tomb Spirit sect also heard it and started talking about it. However, what they said was just envy. For them, they naturally wanted to get the heavenly elixir of Master Tomb Spirit, but they didn't have enough credit. This thing obviously had little to do with them. Master Xiaoxian, Miss Bai Ling. Master's friendship, the Tomb Spirit shakes, Starts early. At this moment, Tum Ching came over in a hurry and said with a solemn expression. Good. Let's go. Xiao Xian and Bai Ling's expressions also changed slightly. In fact, they have long felt that the Flame Cemetery has not been peaceful recently, and various forces are coming one after another, which may affect the date of the tomb spirit's shaking. Now it seems that, as expected, the vibration of the tomb spirit has started in advance. The three of them quickly came to the meeting hall. At this time, Master Tomb Spirit and Mr. Chen were already sitting upright, waiting for Xiao Xian and Bai Ling. You are here. Unexpectedly, this time the tomb spirit shaking actually started early. Tomb Spirit Master said seriously, if I have a good premonition, the tomb of Old Man Valley will be opened again tomorrow at the latest. At that time, the two of you can enter together with our tomb spirit sect disciples, so that you can have mutual understanding. Take care of it, the leader is Tum Ching. Yes, Tum Ching nodded. Tum Ching, this time, you brought 18 Golden God Realm experts into the tomb of the old man in the valley. In addition to searching for holy artifacts and treasures, you also have to protect the safety of Xiao Xian and Bai Ling. You have a heavy responsibility. Do you know, the tomb spirit master's face was serious. Sect master, please rest assured. I will do my best to never let my two benefactors get hurt. Tum Ching nodded quickly and said with a solemn expression, but, this time, various forces are mixed in the cemetery of the old man in the valley. Even the sects of Zhongzhou will participate. Do we have any countermeasures? Hear this. Tomb Spirit Master and Mr. Chen also looked at each other and took out a simple copper-colored compass. This is the bronze compass of the Grave of Fire. It can predict the place where the tomb spirits will exist. After you enter the tomb of the old man in the valley, you can check it frequently. If you find danger, you must not fight forcefully. Do you understand? The real person of the tomb spirit had a serious expression and handed the bronze compass to the tomb spirit. Regarding this, Xiao Xian and Bai Ling also looked solemn. They knew that Master Tomb Spirit and Mr. Chen were completely happy and optimistic people. Even when they were seriously ill with cold poison, they looked nonchalant. Now so much attention is paid to the tomb of the old man of the valley. This is enough to show that there must be dangers in the tomb that ordinary people may not see. Thank you, Master Tomb. Xiao Xian also took the initiative to express his thanks. This time, I will do my best to seize the holy weapon. Xiao Xian said this. The tomb spirit master shook his head instead. It doesn't matter whether it is a sacred weapon or not. As long as you can come back safely, it will be a great thing, said the tomb spirit master. To have such an idea. But it's also something I didn't expect. Xiao Xian was stunned. He originally thought that the tomb spirit sect directly sent 18 powerful men of the Golden God realm, which was enough to show that they attached great importance to the tomb of the old man in the valley. He must have wanted to get something from it. But who knows? The tomb spirit master actually said such a thing? He even said that it would be great if they could come back safely? Could it be that the tomb spirit master didn't trust them that much? Or is the tomb of the old man in the valley so terrifying? With so many people entering, there is no way to get the real ancient holy artifact? For a moment, Xiao Xian and Bai Ling's faces were also covered with a layer of solemnity, showing a little worry in their hearts. Ha ha ha. I'm just talking, you don't have to take it seriously. As if he felt that his emotions had affected Xiao Xian and Bai Ling's emotions, Tomb Spirit also laughed and said, you are all young talents. Maybe you will really gain some strength this time. Mr. Chen also said, yes, the reason why Master Tomb Spirit is so worried is just because he encountered a lot of trouble before. None of the people who entered the old man's tomb in the valley came back, so he is so worried. But this time, the tomb spirit was extremely shaken. It's intense. It should be the best time to explore the secrets, otherwise Zhongzhou wouldn't have come all the way here. Most suitable for exploring secrets, Xiao Xian was a little puzzled, since the vibration of the tomb spirit is the strongest, doesn't it mean that it is more dangerous here? It's not true. Whether the vibration of the tomb spirit is strong or not is actually the opposite of the danger in the tomb of the old man of the valley. The stronger the vibration, the more afraid the monsters in the tomb of the old man of the valley will be, and they will not appear on their own initiative. Tomb Spirit Master said, otherwise, people from Zhengzhou would not come here specifically for such an explanation. Xiao Xian and Bai Ling also nodded, with a little understanding in their hearts. They can roughly understand that since the people in Zhengzhou judge it this way, then this matter is probably like this, so they don't ask any more questions. Then when will we set off? Xiao Xian is also full of confidence. He also wants to see what the strength of those so-called geniuses in Zhengzhou is. Night. Tomb Spirit Master said seriously, if you go there early, you can also get some information that ordinary people don't have. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1223. The plan for Tomb Soul Master. Xiao Xian and Bai Ling did not object. They knew that the Master Tomb Spirit, as the leader of the sect in the Flame Cemetery for many years, knew far more than they did. Now that he has made such a decision, that was enough to prove that there must be a so-called reason behind such a decision, so the two of them nodded in agreement. Old Chintu. Tonight we will send them to the outskirts of the Valley Elder Cemetery. Maybe they will encounter some surprises along the way. The Tomb Spirit Master said. Hearing this, everyone present looked solemn. They also all know that the surprise mentioned by Master Tomb Spirit will not be a real surprise at all. On the contrary, it may be danger. To know. Normally, the Flame Cemetery looks busy and chaotic, but now that it has reached this point, I am afraid it will be even more dangerous. If they want to pass through the Flame Cemetery smoothly, I'm afraid it won't be an easy task. Not to mention at this critical moment. However, now that there are two strong men in the Dragon God realm standing guard, their safety should still be guaranteed. What are you going to do? Mr. Chen also asked directly, looking at you, you should be prepared. Certainly. If you are completely unprepared, how can you ensure that 20 of them are safely sent to the tomb of the old man in the valley? The Tomb Spirit Master nodded. Hearing this, Xiao Xian also became curious and wanted to hear what the Tomb Spirit Master could do to send them in. But in the end, no matter how Mr. Chen asked, Master Tomb Spirit always looked mysterious and unwilling to say anything. This also made Xiao Xian a little helpless, so he had to give up in the end. Faced with such a situation, if he were an ordinary person, he might have given up, but Xiao Xian was not an ordinary person. He deliberately smiled and said, Master Tomb, your method is not shameful, right? How can it be? What's so shameful about this old man's soul transposition technique? The Tomb Spirit Master was so anxious that he blurted out the words, but when he said it, he realized that he had let something slip. He quickly covered his mouth, but by this time it was already too late. Soul transfer method. It's amazing. Old Tombstone, you actually succeeded in cultivating this magical power. Mr. Chen was also shocked. Tomb Qing and Bai Ling were equally surprised. It's true that Xiao Xian has never heard of any spiritual soul transfer method, but after hearing the word supernatural power, his face became more solemn. He knows. For the average Dragon God realm powerhouse, the ordinary fighting skills should be heaven-level Taoism. However, heaven-level Taoism is not that powerful for those who are strong in the Dragon God realm. The real fighting skills should be supernatural powers. It's been so long since I came to Daedao continent. Xiao Xian has never seen any magical powers. Today was also the first time he heard about the existence of supernatural powers, and he was instantly interested. For these supernatural powers. If Xiao Xian said that he was not curious, that would be false. This magical power. Is it just teleportation? Xiao Xian didn't believe it. Now that we have reached this level, it is a bit unbelievable that the magical power has no fighting ability. Is this, it's really just teleportation? Master Tomb Spirit was a little embarrassed. Just teleportation? Then why are you studying this? Will you rely on this to make teleportation arrays and make money in the future? Mr. Chen also looked puzzled. At the same time, Xiao Xian and Bai Ling also looked puzzled. They knew that the Great Dao continent was vast, and there were giant teleportation arrays between some of the big cities that were far away. They were used to teleport cultivators, and each trip cost a lot of money. Listen to what Master Tomb Spirit means. Is it possible that he is really studying this to make money? Sounds a little weird. How can it be? The Grave Spirit Master blushed. What he could feel was that his face was full of embarrassment. I have studied the soul teleportation method and can achieve instant teleportation. Among all the teleportation formations in the world, who can do it? Instant teleportation? How far can it be teleported? Mr. Chen was a little confused. From here, go to anywhere in the Great Dao continent, Master Tomb Spirit said proudly. What? Are you telling the truth? At this time, Mr. Chen was shocked. At the same time, Xiao Xian, Bai Ling, and others were also shocked. They looked at the Tomb Spirit Master in disbelief. Anywhere on Avenue continent? Are you sure it's not a joke? You must know that the Dao continent is extremely vast, not to mention the extremely far distances between the 4 continents. Even within the same continent, major hub cities still need to use teleportation arrays for transmission. Now, the Tomb Spirit Master relies on his own ability. Can you actually study the magical power that can be transmitted at will on the Great Dao continent? This is indeed a bit outrageous. Although, this magical power cannot be fought against. But who dares to say that a teleportation magical power is useless in a battle? When fighting against others. If it is an advantage, this formation can achieve instant pursuit. If it is a disadvantage, it can be an instant escape. This is also a powerful combat auxiliary skill. After all, even a strong person in the Dragon God realm cannot achieve a pursuit across the continent in an instant. In other words, as long as the real Tomb Spirit is not instantly killed, then he has the means to escape or even fight back. Is this the power of supernatural powers? Thinking of this, Xiao Xian couldn't help but marveled and sighed one after another. It's indeed a magical power. I'm afraid that in the entire Dao continent, the only person who has the ability to cultivate such magical powers is you, Master Tomb Spirit. Xiao Xian also sighed with emotion. Of course. The most exquisite thing is that this soul teleportation method does not require the consumption of the power of the Great Avenue. As long as I still have a trace of soul, I can use it. Tomb Spirit Master said proudly. Hearing this, even Teacher Chen nodded and said, yes, old Tombstone, you are really quite capable. I didn't expect that you could even research such a thing. It's amazing. How is it? Are you convinced this time? Master Tomb Spirit asked proudly. Convinced. This magical power of soul teleportation is truly amazing. Mr. Chen also nodded, as if he had no more arguments with the Tomb Spirit Master, but finally asked, so, can you, the 22 of us, teleport to the tomb of the old man in the valley at will? A little difficult. The old man in the valley should have been in the realm of saints back then. The outer barrier he set up was extremely powerful. There were once strong men in the Dragon God realm who thought about breaking through it, but in the end they reaped the consequences. Therefore, I suggest you not to do anything to ask for trouble. Something to eat? Tomb Spirit Master said, I can only teleport you to the periphery of the Valley Old Man's Cemetery, but you can be as close to the center of the tomb as possible. This is also one of the advantages. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1224. This is already amazing. Mr. Chen nodded. As a strong man in the dragon god realm, he also knows how powerful a strong man in the saint realm is, so naturally he will not force the tomb spirit master to do anything. In the end, he nodded and said, then we will prepare and take action in advance tonight. When we get to the place, we can arrange some magic formations to gain some advantages. Yes, I mean the same thing, Master Tomb Spirit nodded. Going ahead of time. Are there any advantages and disadvantages of location outside the tomb? Xiao Xian was indeed a little confused. Of course. Generally speaking, the closer you are to the tomb, the better. This way, when the vibration of the tomb spirit starts, you can be the first to enter the tomb and have the first chance to get the treasures inside. When Tomb Qing saw Xiao Xian's look, he also smiled and explained, maybe, for those of you who have never been to the Flame Cemetery, it is a bit novel, but for us, it is indeed a very important thing. I see. Xiao Xian nodded, but still asked, but if there is danger in the tomb of the old man in the valley, wouldn't it cause thunder to other sects the sooner we enter? Won't. The tomb of Old Man of the Valley is complicated. So far, no one has actually entered the core of the tomb of Old Man of the Valley. There are almost tens of millions of corridors inside. If we go there early, we can also choose a few familiar corridors. Tomb Qing explained patiently. After hearing these words, Xiao Xian also completely understood. At the same time, he also knew that in the Flame Cemetery, he might really need to listen to the advice of the Tomb Spirit sect disciples, otherwise he might suffer a big loss. In that case, then let's go get ready. Xiao Xian and Bai Ling looked at each other. Unexpectedly, Tomb Qing directly took out two space magic weapons and handed them to Xiao Xian and Bai Ling. I have prepared them for you too long ago. You are all from outside areas. I'm afraid, for eye protection, I don't know much about the cemetery, so it's better for me to prepare it for you. Thank you very much. Xiao Xian and Bai Ling also thanked them. It doesn't matter. When we enter the tomb of the old man in the valley, we will really encounter danger. At that time, we still need to cooperate well. Tomb Qing said seriously. Good. Xiao Xian also nodded. At the same time, his heart became more solemn. He had also thought about some issues before. Since it was said that only those in the Golden God Realm's tomb could enter the tomb of the Old Man of the Valley, I'm afraid that the level of danger would not be low. As a sect that often explores tombs, the Tomb Spirit sect should know a lot about them. But even so, if you want to truly explore the tomb of the Old Man in the Valley, you will also encounter trouble. Should he listen to the disciples of the Tomb Spirit sect throughout the process? However, he has never been a person who likes to leave his destiny to others. So on some things, he always has his own opinions and judgments. During this trip to the tomb of the old man in the valley, although he knew that the Tomb Spirit sect should be more experienced than him, he still thought about doing something unique. But things are a little different now. Judging from the appearance of the tomb, it seems that he is experienced in exploring tombs. In this case, there should be nothing wrong with following his arrangements. Figure this out. He felt a lot relieved in his heart. He nodded and saw that Master Tomb Ling and Mr. Chen were talking about other things. He also took the initiative to smile and said to Tomb Qing, Brother Tomb Qing, it seems that this time, the tomb of the old man in the valley, I really have to rely on you for this trip. Did you often go to the tomb before? Ha ha ha. Of course, when it comes to tombs, I can be regarded as the person who knows the most about tombs among the Tomb Spirit sect. Tomb Qing said, I have lived in the tomb for more than 100 years. Say it. Xiao Xian and Bai Ling were both stunned for a moment. 100 years in a tomb? Why did you stay in here for so long? They could tell that Tomb Ching was a strong man in the Golden God realm, although it was hard to tell how old he was from his face. And when you reach the Golden God realm, you have an almost infinite lifespan. Under such circumstances, they could not really judge Tomb Ching's age, but judging from the tone of Tomb Ching's words, he was not too old, only 100 or 200 years old at most. If so, Tomb Ching has spent half of his time in the tomb since he was born? Thinking of this, Xiao Xian and Bai Ling also looked puzzled and asked, why did you stay in the tomb for so long? Could it be that, is there any other purpose? No other purpose. It's just that when I was just born, my parents threw me into a tomb. When I was a baby, I lived in the tomb, eating weeds and drinking dew. It was the master who went down to the tomb later who saved me. Otherwise, I would be here now. I'm afraid he's still in the tomb. Tomb Ching said with a smile. Although Tomb Ching was smiling when he spoke, Xiao Xian and Bai Ling were also secretly shocked. Growing up in a tomb? This is also a bit too scary. How did a baby who could only cry survive in the tomb? Not to mention that there might be monsters, corpses, monsters, and poisonous evil things in there. There was no food or drink in the tomb. How did he survive? But now, there is no need for Tomb Ching to deceive them about this kind of thing, that is to say, these things are true. In this case, this Tomb Ching is indeed a character with terrifying survivability. Hey. So, don't worry, I won't let you encounter any danger in the tomb of the old man in the valley this time. Tomb Green is full of confidence. Hearing this, Xiao Xian and Bai Ling felt relieved. They also know that in a place like a tomb, having an experienced person lead them will save a lot of effort. Thank you. Thank you. Xiao Xian and the white-collar worker also said politely, in the future, if anything happens to Brother Tomb Ching, just say it. Brother Xiao Xian doesn't have to be like this. Master Tomb is my savior, and you cured Master Tomb of cold poison. You are my benefactor, Tomb Ching. Tomb Ching said seriously. Ha ha ha. Okay, then we will stop talking to each other as one family. This time, we will cooperate sincerely in the tomb of the old man in the valley to find the holy artifact. Having said that, Xiao Xian also smiled and said with satisfaction. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1225. At night. Xiao Xian and Bai Ling also arrived at the meeting hall on time. At the same time, the 18 Golden God Realm powerhouses from the Tomb Spirit sect also gathered together. Xiao Xian also sighed with emotion for these powerhouses. Just from the aura on their bodies, one could feel that their strength was extraordinary. However, although he is only in the little Golden God Realm now, he is not without the power to fight against these people. Let's go. Good. Following the order from the Tomb Spirit Master, everyone also came to his side and looked nervously at the Tomb Spirit Master. A powerful oppression of the soul appeared instantly, making everyone feel that the soul was almost collapsing. The next second, everyone was teleported to a certain place in the Flame Cemetery. This place turned out to be on a mountain peak in front of the tomb of the old man in the valley. In terms of location, it is definitely the closest to the tomb of the old man in the valley. Feel the heat coming over you. Xiao Xian was also surprised. Before, he was more suspicious and curious about the so-called soul teleportation method. But when he actually used it, he discovered that there really was such a magical power in this world. It's indeed a magical power. It's actually possible to teleport so many powerful people in the Golden God Realm at the same time. Xiao Xian couldn't help but sigh. If during the battle, the Tomb Spirit Master wanted the enemy to die and directly teleported the enemy into the fire of Nirvana, wouldn't he be invincible? It's not that simple. Master Tomb Spirit heard Xiao Xian's words and said, my teleportation method requires that the other party does not have to resist the soul, or the soul is too weak to resist, in order to be able to teleport, and who can know those other people? Wouldn't a strong person in the Dragon God realm have his own magical powers? Yep. If you can cultivate to the Dragon God realm, you must have your own strength, and maybe you will also have magical powers. Xiao Xian nodded. But as he spoke, he seemed to feel something was wrong. Listening to the words of Master Tomb Spirit, it seems that he is referring to something, as if he is talking about Mr. Chen. Mr. Chen is also a strong man in the Dragon God realm. It seems like you haven't demonstrated any magical powers before? You little guy, didn't I tell you before? When you truly achieve the Dragon God realm, I can also teach you a magical power. Elder Chen thought thoughtfully. Moreover, I am preparing to strengthen this magical power recently. After all, my magical powers cannot be compared to this old tombstone. You. Ha ha ha. I heard Master Tomb Spirit and Mr. Chen starting to bicker again. Xiao Xian also nodded, and at the same time, he felt a little more grateful towards the two of them. After all, such a thing as supernatural powers. It was almost a trump card that a strong man in the Dragon God realm kept at the bottom of the box, but now he took it out on his own initiative. Doesn't this also show his trust in him? What's more, he and Mr. Chen don't even have the status of master and disciple. The latter had already promised to teach him magical powers. This kindness was enough for him to repay. What? Mr. Chen, you also have magical powers? Bai Ling, who was on the other side, said angrily after hearing this, then why don't you give it to me? You little girl, I asked you to become an apprentice to me, but you refused to die. Now you have to learn my magical powers. How can it be so simple? Mr. Chen was furious. Then Xiao Xian is not your apprentice, why do you want to teach it to him? Bai Ling asked unconvinced. Xiao Xian is different. Mentioning Xiao Xian, Mr. Chen had a thoughtful expression on his face. I feel that this little guy seems to have some unusual secrets. Perhaps only he can learn my magical powers. This time, Master Tomb Spirit rarely argued with Mr. Chen. He also looked at Xiao Xian and nodded silently, obviously agreeing with Mr. Chen's words. A riddle about Mr. Chen. Bai Ling was not interested in continuing to ask, but instead smiled slyly. It doesn't matter, Xiao Xian is my master now. When the time comes, I beg him and he will teach it to me. Ah! This. Hearing this, Mr. Chen was stunned. He didn't expect Bai Ling to say such a thing. However, the lively and cute Bai Ling made everyone laugh. At this time, not far away from them, a group of people wearing white training uniforms and black hoods came near them and surrounded them. Who? As a strong man who entered the Dragon God realm with his soul, the Tomb Spirit Master has such a keen sense of the surroundings that he naturally felt such a movement all of a sudden. Seeing that they were discovered, these people no longer concealed themselves and walked out directly. The leader opened his hood, revealing a skinny old face. It turned out to be an old man with sinister eyes. He. Master Tomb Spirit, you didn't come too late. I didn't expect that you took this position away from me. The old man sneered and said, it seems that you are very anxious to die in the tomb of the old man in the valley. Venerable Bones. You didn't come too late. Are we going to die in the tomb of the old man in the valley? You don't need to meddle in our own business. Tomb Spirit Master obviously knew this old man, and sneered, now that you know that this position is occupied by us, you should leave as soon as possible. After hearing this, Lord Whitebone's face was obviously a bit ugly. Obviously, they don't want to leave voluntarily. Tomb Spirit, your Tomb Spirit sect is already in a mess within itself. I think you should leave voluntarily. You are not qualified to explore the tomb of the old man in the valley, Lord Whitebone sneered. Whether we are qualified to investigate, you don't need to say more, Tomb Spirit said unceremoniously. My Tomb Spirit is here today, and you Whitebone sect can't go any further. The Tomb Spirit Master and the Bone Master released the power of the Avenue at the same time. The collision of the power of the Avenue even caused a tremor in the space. Then the two of them took a few steps back at the same time, and they even ended up in a tie. Ha 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 ha. Tomb Spirit Sect, Whitebone Sect, you two sects came very early, but our Giant Whale Sect lagged behind. Just when the Tomb Spirit Master and the Whitebone Master were confronting each other, a rough and arrogant voice came over. It turned out to be a fat man with a pale face. Behind him were also followed by a dozen strong men of the Golden God realm. Originally, the Tomb Spirit Sect and the Whitebone Sect were still in a state of wanting to fight if they disagreed. But after seeing the giant whale gate, they hesitated. After all, no one wanted to let the giant whale gate become a fisherman's profit. Fight. Why don't you fight? I look at you, aren't you about to start a fight? The Great Whale Lord said with a smile. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1226. Whale. Do you think I am a fool? You want to make a profit? I will not give you this opportunity. Lord Bone said with a sneer. This is no longer interesting to you. What does it mean to be a fisherman and get a profit? I thought you were about to start a fight. That's why you came out. I didn't expect you to stop fighting. The venerable giant whale sneered. We've been making trouble for a long time, are you all bluffing? Say it. Xiao Xian and Bai Ling couldn't help but be stunned. This chubby giant whale venerable is quite interesting. It can be seen that he also wants to compete for this mountain peak, but if he really wants to make a profit, he should take the initiative to wait until the Lord Bones and the Tomb Spirit Master fight before coming out. Why are you taking the initiative now? Isn't this a little weird? But the current situation is not bad. The three families are facing each other, and no one will take the initiative to leave opportunities for others. What's more, the Tomb Spirit Sect still occupies a geographical advantage. If the other two families want to attack by force, they will also have to pay a little hardship. Prepare a defensive formation. Even so, Master Tomb Spirit did not neglect at all and asked his 18 Golden God Realm powerhouses to set up a defensive formation. These 18 Golden God Realms are all powerful men carefully selected by the Tomb Spirit Sect. On weekdays, the Tomb Spirit Sect often cooperated and created many defensive formations together. At this time, they did not panic at all when facing strong enemies and quickly set up defensive formations. Seeing that the Tomb Spirit Sect's defensive formation has been formed, the Whitebone Sect and the Giant Whale Sect also looked at each other and took the initiative to retreat. They also know that at this time, the tomb of the old man in the valley may be opened soon, and they must not lose their vitality. If you attack the Tomb Spirit Sect here, you will probably cause losses to yourself, which is not worth the gain. They probably won't attack by force. Seeing the two sects retreating, Master Tomb Spirit nodded with satisfaction. He also did not want to fight this battle. But at this moment, 5 or 6 strong men in silver robes appeared and walked directly towards the mountain peak, acting as if there was no one around, as if they were the owners of this mountain peak. Who dares to compete for the position of this mountain peak? Ridiculous, the middle-aged man in silver robe who took the lead sneered. You court death. Lord Bones and Lord Whale looked angry. Seeing that there were not many people in silver robes, they also attacked the middle-aged man in silver robes who took the lead. However, before their attack could get close to the silver-robed middle-aged man, they were directly deflected. Then the two of them took several steps back, sat down on the ground, and spat out a mouthful of blood. It was obvious that there was a huge gap in strength between them and the silver-robed middle-aged man. You must know that they are also strong men in the dragon god realm, and their strength is not weaker than that of the tomb spirit master. Now that the two of them joined forces, they were easily defeated by the middle-aged man in silver robe. This is enough to show how strong this silver-robed middle-aged man is. Who are you? This mountain peak has been occupied by our tomb spirit sect, please move away. Seeing these people daring to grab the position on the mountain, Tomb Spirit Master also showed an angry face and said rudely, "Do you want to fight?" Hear these words. The middle-aged man in silver robes who took the lead raised his head with sarcasm in his eyes. How can a mere external sect be qualified to occupy such a good position? Get out of here quickly, or don't blame me for going on a killing spree. External sect? After hearing this, the faces of everyone present in the Tomb Spirit sect became solemn. Obviously, these people should be the people from the legendary Central sect. For a moment, their faces became more solemn, and they all looked at the silver-robed man warily. I wonder which sect in Zhongzhou you are from. Master Tomb Spirit also looked unkind. Tianlei sect, the silver-robed middle-aged man said rudely, I will give you 3 breaths to retreat, otherwise, you will die. At this moment, the White Bone sect and the Giant Whale sect, who had just retreated, also surrounded them, as if they wanted to watch the fun. I have met Protector Chen. Bullshit Tianlei sect, what's so great about it? The middle-aged man in silver robe was angry. Does this person have the guts to come out? After all, this is the Zhongzhou sect, and its strength is unquestionable. From what the silver-robed man said, is this man still the protector of the Tianlei sect? Wasn't this guy in silver robe very arrogant just now? Why were you scared all of a sudden? Or did you kneel down to a person from the Tomb Spirit sect? How capable is this person? How dare you speak to the Tianlei sect, the #1 sect in Zhongzhou, like this? Isn't this just seeking death? Not to mention the Flame Cemetery, everyone in Nanzan who knows that Zhongzhou is the ceiling of Nanzan whose strength. How dare you slander my Tianlei sect? This surprised Venerable White Bones and Venerable Whale. Regarding this issue, Xiao Xian also couldn't laugh or cry. Snort. Yinzong, what can you do if I come out? At this moment, Mr. Chen stood up. Could it be said that Mr. Chen is stronger than these yin sects? How could the Tomb Spirit sect be able to make the disciples of the Tianlei sect, the #1 sect in Zhongzhou, kneel before them? How can this be? Speaking of which, since he met Mr. Chen, except for seeing Mr. Chen deal with a few small fish when he entered the Flame Cemetery, he had never seen him take action at all. At the same time, Xiao Xian and Bai Ling were also shocked. They looked at each other with a bit of suspicion on their faces. They had just suffered a defeat at the hands of Tomb Spirit sect. The people present instantly exploded. Is Mr. Chen the real master of hiding? Today, he will die. What does it mean? Who knows now? Unexpectedly, at this moment, a contemptuous voice came from the mountain peak. Who? Now I am also thinking that seeing the Tomb Spirit sect being unlucky, even if they dare not compete with the Tianlei sect for the position on the mountain peak, seeing the strong men from the Zhongzhou sect taking action might also be helpful to their path. Mr. Chen said before that he was kicked out by Tianlei sect. At that time, Xiao Xian also vowed to help Mr. Chen get revenge and help him return to the sect. Bai Ling couldn't help but said. Who knew that this powerful man from Zhongzhou sect would kneel down directly to Mr. Chen? After seeing Mr. Chen, the middle-aged man in silver robe who had been arrogant and domineering just knelt on the ground and saluted quickly. It seems that this yin sect's strength has reached the peak of the dragon god realm. Why is he so respectful to Mr. Chen? Could it be said that Mr. Chen's strength is also at the peak of the Dragon God realm? What's the situation? Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1227. It seems that you still know me. Mr. Chen didn't care at all and said, this area has been taken over by my friends. You should retreat. Yes. Yanzong didn't dare to say a word, he just nodded and waved to signal the Golden God Realm powerhouse behind him to leave, while he was still half kneeling on the ground. See this scene. Mr. Chen also knew that this Yanzong also had something to say. If you have anything to say, just say it. I don't have time to waste with you, Mr. Chen said politely. The sect master has an order. If I see you, Mr. Chen, I must ask you to return to the section. Yanzong said directly. After hearing this, Mr. Chen stared, what if I don't go back? Then Yanzong will follow Mr. Chen. I will go wherever Mr. Chen goes, Yanzong said. Other elders from the sect will also be sent to ask Mr. Chen to return to the section. You hear something like this? The expressions of the people next to him also changed slightly. They all knew that this could be considered a threat. After all, if a strong man at the peak of Dragon God realm is following him, who can guarantee that this guy is just following him? In case of a sneak attack, wouldn't it be easy to take Mr. Chen back directly? What's more, the Yin sect also said that he would report to the sect and ask other elders to come, which was also asking for help. Mr. Chen, please think about it carefully. The sect leader still attaches great importance to you, Yanzong said. As long as you agree to return to the sect, the position of the sect's protector will still be yours. That's all. Even if we want to return to the sect, we have to wait until this tomb spirit vibration ends. Mr. Chen said rudely, I don't want to see you before that. Yes, you can step back now, Yanzong nodded, and then left directly. This. Didn't he say he would follow you? Xiao Xian was stunned and couldn't help asking Mr. Chen. On the contrary, the tomb spirit master next to him said, this person's strength has reached the peak of the Dragon God realm, and he is one step away from entering the Holy Realm. Such a person, as long as he knows your location, he can arrive in an instant even if he is thousands of miles away. No need to follow closely. So, Mr. Chen, why does he respect you so much? Xiao Xian continued to ask, could it be said that you are also at the peak of the Dragon God realm? Or even the Holy Realm? How can it be a Holy Realm? At most, I have to be a little stronger than him. Otherwise, this guy would have taken action long ago and taken me back by force. Mr. Chen said calmly. After saying this, Xiao Xian and Bai Ling were also stunned. They knew before that Mr. Chen must have reached the Dragon God realm, but they didn't expect that his strength had reached the peak of the Dragon God realm. Doesn't this mean that Mr. Chen is the truly most powerful person? But since he is so strong, why were you never willing to show your strength before? But Xiao Xian didn't ask much about this question. After all, some truly strong people do have some quirks in certain things that ordinary people don't have. Maybe this is his quirk? Think of this. Xiao Xian also shook his head and said no more. By the way, Mr. Chen, since you are so powerful, if anything happens next, you will have to help, Xiao Xian said with a smile. Too lazy to take action. Isn't there that guy from Yanzong? If you need anything, just go find him. Mr. Chen seemed to realize that he was going back to Zhongzhou. He was also lazy and obviously not as joking as before. After saying that, he closed his eyes and rested. This actually made Xiao Xian and Bai Ling feel a little depressed. They have been with Mr. Chen for such a long time, and they know that Mr. Chen likes to joke around and is not a bad person at heart. He will also give them guidance at critical moments. Now, suddenly knowing that Mr. Chen was leaving, they were a little reluctant to leave. "Don't worry, Mr. Chen. I will practice hard and come to Zhongzhou to find you in the future. As long as you don't want to stay in Tianli sect, no one can force you," Xiao Xian said suddenly. After saying these words, everyone present was shocked and looked at Xiao Xian in surprise. To know. Mr. Chen is at the peak of the Dragon God realm. Being able to force such a person to stay in the sect means that there is a stronger person in the Zhongzhou Tianli section. Such a person might be a saint. Xiao Xian is only in the realm of the little golden god. Now, even Yanzong can't defeat him, so why do you dare to talk like this? Okay, I believe you. Mr. Chen opened his eyes, nodded and smiled. However, this may have to wait for a while. Xiao Xian is not stupid. With his current strength, even at the youth conference in a while, it should not be said that he can win the first place, so it will naturally take time. I am willing to believe you, ha ha ha. A smile appeared on Mr. Chen's face, his eyes were a little moist. Then we will agree to wait until you save me. Okay. Xiao Xian's eyes were serious. The next period of time. With old Chen's previous shock, Yanzong sat under the mountain peak instead, and anyone who wanted to enter the mountain peak was driven away by him. In between, Xiao Xian also saw something unusual. Every move this Yanzong makes is not very complicated. Every time, it is almost just a precise move. The power behind movable moves? But it is not something that ordinary people can resist. Once, when fighting against 3 Dragon God realm experts at the same time, Yanzong was able to stop them calmly without any panic. It was as if the people standing in front of him were just puppets. This also aroused Xiao Xian's interest. Could it be said that after reaching the realm of Dragon God realm, there is no need for any Taoist techniques and moves? With this kind of thinking, Xiao Xian also began to understand the Great Road, until finally, there was a loud noise in the distance. The tomb spirit shaking has begun. Everyone looked nervously in the direction of the tomb of the old man in the valley. They just saw that there seemed to be various phantoms of strong men appearing in the tomb. There was a general holding a giant halberd and slapping Fang Qiu. There are literati holding history books, reading and reciting poems. There is a drunken old man carrying a wine gourd, his eyes dim and his body swaying. There is a beautiful sword fairy with a slim figure and a long sword hanging low. But these people finally got into the tomb of the old man in the valley, which really made the eyes of people outside the tomb brighten. The phantoms of so many powerful men are inside. Doesn't it mean that there are still more powerful magic weapons and inheritances inside? Judging from their appearance, they are all Dragon God realm experts. This is definitely a huge opportunity for these participants in the Golden God realm. Think of this. Everyone is also preparing to rush into the tomb of the old man in the valley as soon as possible. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1228. Boom. With a burst of light flashing. After the loud noise, the grave of the old man in the valley returned to calm, and everyone's eyes were focused on it. Not a moment. The barrier on the tomb of the old man of the valley was also broken, and a hole appeared. The cave is open. Charge. Ha 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 ha. Rush in and grab the treasure. Boys of the White Bone sect, go in and snatch the treasures. For a moment, all the major sects at the entrance of the tomb started shouting, and all of them had extremely excited expressions, as if they were ready to get the treasure inside easily. On the other hand, the tomb spirit sect is relatively calm. Tomb spirit masters still patiently help them with various preparations. Xiao Xian and Bai Ling also had serious expressions. They also knew that the more treasures there are, the more likely they are to be in danger. Since there are holy vessels of saints inside, it is very likely that there will be traps or tests set by the saint. However, since this tomb is restricted and only cultivators below the Golden God realm can enter, it is unlikely that there will be forces inside that the Golden God realm cannot resist, which is also a good thing. For these forces, maybe ordinary people don't have much understanding. But anyone with a discerning eye can know that if you want to get strong enough power, you have to pay a heavy enough price. For a time, it also attracted the attention of many people. Strength, power and sacred weapons are important, but you must know that if you want to obtain these things, you may have to pay a price. The grave spirit master warned. Master, please rest assured. My disciple knows what to do. There are some things that if we cannot challenge, we will never take action. Casually Tum Ching nodded. I'm assured of that. But Master Tum's spirit was relieved about the steady Tum Ching, but after seeing Xiaoxian, he became a little worried. He knew that Xiaoxian had the kind of character that faced challenges head-on. Sometimes, it seems that they are no match for some challenges, but Xiaoxian will not give up easily. Although such a character may help turn defeat into victory at critical moments, more often than not, they still need to be careful and serious about facing it. For this point, he was somewhat worried. Hey. Don't worry, Master Tomb Spirit, I won't mess around. Xiaoxian also smiled and said, however, it is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to finally wait until the tomb of the old man in the valley is opened this time, isn't it? He said this. Everyone present also looked solemn. In fact, anyone with a discerning eye can hear that although Xiaoxian promised not to mess around, the meaning of the second half of the sentence is also very obvious, that is, if there is a suitable opportunity, he will not give up lightly. Such a personality may not be a bad thing for the exploration team. That's fine. Tio Yu Qing, you remember my teacher said that your character is more calm than adventurous. This time, you will cooperate well with Xiaoxian. Sometimes, don't back down easily from some challenges. Tomb Spirit Master said to Tomb Ching. Hearing this, Tomb Ching was stunned for a moment, and then nodded seriously, accepting it. Because it is in the most suitable position. When the tomb of the old man of the valley was opened, they rushed in directly. There are thousands of roads ahead. Why? Bai Ling asked confused. Xiaoxian asked when he saw that Tomb Ching was not so nervous. All kinds of people. The corridors we are taking have been walked by people before, so there is no danger. In my impression, there seemed to be a lot of humanoid phantoms above the tomb just now. Could it be that these are the owners of the tomb? So why did this old man from the valley, who worked so hard to train so many Dragon God Realm disciples, bury these disciples in the tomb before he died? It seemed that the fellow disciples were a little nervous. Don't be so nervous. Xiaoxian also remembered the situation he encountered just now on the cemetery of the old man in the valley. Some Tomb Spirit sect disciples also expressed emotion. Have you sealed so many Dragon God Realm experts? The master should not do such cruel things to his disciples as long as they have not betrayed the master. A little strange. This also made Xiaoxian respect Tomb Ching even more. Logically speaking, these people did not die voluntarily during their lives, and they will definitely have resentments when they die. Tomb Ching explained, although the old man in the valley, as a saint, can annihilate their vitality, no one knows. What traps these Dragon God Realm experts will set in their tombs is also the biggest danger we have to face. However, after hearing these words, Xiaoxian's face became a little more suspicious and curious. Yes, the old man in the valley should have been a saint during his lifetime, and there were many strong men in the Dragon God Realm under his command. It is said that before he died, he also had these Dragon God Realms buried with him, so they were all sealed in this tomb. Tomb Ching said. Tomb Ching consoled him, but it won't be certain when you get to the back. According to the previous information, the corridors behind will lead to different people's tombs. Deep in these tombs, there will be various dangers. but they are pitiful. They have already cultivated to the dragon god realm, but they were killed by their master and thrown into the tomb. Could it be that all their tombs are here? This is a bit interesting, why the tombs of so many people are among the tombs of the old people in the valley. The disciples of Tomb Spirit sect were talking a lot. Either a sect fell into a trap in the corridor and lost its manpower. The speed of action is also very fast. Seal. After all, with the leadership of Tomb Ching, they did have a lot of strength left. 20 people worked closely together along the way. No wonder, so many powerful people in the Golden God realm died in it before. This is the reason. However, with an experienced driver like Tomb Ching leading the way, they quickly found a spacious corridor and got in. It's unbelievable. He is indeed a strong man in the Saint realm. He can seal so many strong men in the Dragon God realm with just one disagreement. Say it. Compared to them, the other sects in the Flame Cemetery were not so smooth, or two sects were fighting over a corridor. So, when we explore the tombs of the old people in the valley, we are very likely to enter their tombs. Tomb Ching said, this is not necessarily a good thing. So that's it? There are also some sects that have spent a lot of effort, but in the end they found that the corridor they took turned out to be a dead end. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1229. Could it be that this old man in the valley is a violent and unscrupulous person? Faced with the fact that his death was imminent, he deliberately killed his disciples and let them be buried with him. Xiao Xian asked. Regarding this issue, a group of Tomb Spirit sect disciples were also talking about everything. Some people say that this is probably what happened. Otherwise, why would the old man of the valley let so many people be buried with him? Some people say that the old man of the valley prepared tombs for his disciples. If he just planned to let his disciples be buried with him, why did he do this? Others said that these disciples probably did something bad and were discovered by the old man in the valley, so they were killed. However, these analyses have little basis. All said and done, it's all just speculation. Xiao Xian was very interested in this. This time he came to the Flame Cemetery. Although it was ostensibly to compete for the holy artifact, he knew that the more precious thing should be the inheritance of the saint. Saint, isn't he the old man of the valley? So since he wants to get the inheritance of the old man of the valley, he must first find out what kind of person this old man of the valley is. If he is a cunning, vicious, and evil person. Xiao Xian also disdained his inheritance. About what I said, they are actually just legends, and most people may not know it. Tomb Ching smiled and said, our purpose this time is to find the tomb of one of his disciples and try to get as much information as possible. The treasures in it are already considered very good. A disciple. Senior brother Tomb Ching, your appetite is a bit too small, right? We have already arrived at the tomb of the old man in the valley, and we are only looking for the tomb of a disciple. This is too unpleasant. Yes, let's go find the tomb of the old man of the valley. 18 powerful men in the Golden God realm. With such strength, even in the Flame Cemetery, as long as you don't encounter a Dragon God level sect master, you can basically walk sideways. With strong troops and strong horses, they are naturally confident. On the contrary, the tomb is a bit dignified. As a person who grew up in tombs, he has a very deep understanding of the dangers in tombs. He knew that in a tomb of this level, sometimes having more people is not necessarily an advantage. As long as you touch any mechanism or trap, it is very likely that the group will be wiped out in an instant. This is also the reason for his cautious character. For such a long time, although before leaving, Master Tomb Spirit said that he could boldly explore, Things like personality cannot be changed casually. Now that you're all here, let's give it a try. If we don't try it, I'm afraid, even if we go back safely, we will have regrets. Xiao Xian thought for a while and said, why don't we divide into two teams? One team will search for the disciples' tomb according to the original plan, the other team will find a different way to find the tomb of the old man in the valley. How about that? Okay, that's a good idea. This way we will at least have a guaranteed income from the tomb, and maybe there will be some really good stuff. I agree with young Master Xiao Xian's suggestion. Anyway, there are 20 people, even if they are divided into two teams, there are still 10 people in each team. In this case, there will be no danger. Therefore, Xiao Xian's suggestion was supported as soon as it was put forward. Seeing so many people supporting him, Tum Ching reluctantly nodded in the end, saying that Xiao Xian should pay attention to safety, and gave Xiao Xian a copy of the map. But when it comes time to allocate people. But something went wrong again. It turned out that although Xiao Xian's suggestion was good, his strength was really difficult to accept. We have to follow the main force. That's what I mean. Only the little golden god realm. Have no idea. See here. In fact, he can understand it. After all, sometimes recognition of other people's suggestions does not mean recognition of others' strength. The two disciples got into an argument. With such strength, it is indeed difficult for others to lead others forward. Moreover, Xiao Xian is also a meritorious member of their tomb spirit section. If Xiao Xian encounters any danger in the tomb, their tomb spirit sect will not be able to deal with it. Say it. As the corridor gradually deepened, they felt that the air became colder and harsher, and the roars of some unknown monsters also appeared, which made people shudder. Xiao Xian originally wanted to say something more. Some people's faces also looked a little more solemn. A timid golden god realm disciple couldn't help but ask, there is nothing to eat or drink here, how can they live? Facing the person in front of him, he really had a bit of doubt on his face, and said directly, in that case, Bai Ling and I will go explore the grave of the old man in the valley, and you guys will go search for the apprentice's grave. How about that? Tum Ching objected directly. Master said at that time, let me protect your safety. If we are separated, how will I protect you? It is indeed a monster. Tum Ching confirmed the words of a disciple and said, in the tomb, anything can happen. After those monsters devour the body of the owner of the tomb, they will become stronger. You should be more careful. There are actually monsters in this tomb. It can only be this way. Forget it, Master. In fact, the Dragon God Realm disciples of Old Man Valley might have something powerful enough. Wouldn't it be beneficial for us to get them? Bai Ling said, so, we'd better go find the disciples first. The tomb. However, when it saw Tum Ching's serious look on his face, he knew that no matter what he said, there would be no results. Xiao Xian's words just came out. It must be our imagination, right? His little golden god realm is indeed not worthy of being followed by so many powerful people in the golden god realm. So at this time, only Bai Ling was willing to follow him. Xiao Xian's face also looked a little more embarrassed. No. Think of this. What monster? They know Tum Ching's character and they always say what they say. Once they say something, they will definitely do it. Swallow? Flesh. Several disciples looked at each other with pale faces, they were all frightened. Xiao Xian was a little helpless and said frustratedly, if this is the case, doesn't it mean that we have no way to find the tomb of the old man in the valley? But, this is all we can do for the time being. Tum Ching actually felt a little regretful, but that was all he could say. He also followed Tum Ching and continued walking towards the depths of the tomb. It's impossible. I heard it clearly. It's really a monster. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1230. Is there really such a monster? Bai Ling carefully took Xiao Xian's hand and couldn't help but ask, can such a monster eat people? Are you afraid of monsters? Xiao Xian was stunned. He remembered that when he was in the 10,000 Beasts Tower and fighting against those monsters in the 10,000 Beasts Tower, Bai Ling performed well, right? I'm not afraid of ordinary monsters, but I'm afraid of the ones that eat dead human flesh. Bai Ling's palms were sweaty. It doesn't matter, there are so many of us, there is no need to be afraid. Xiao Xian also comforted, and then asked Tum Qing, Brother Tum Qing, if a monster appears in this tomb, what is its approximate grade? Hard to say. According to the records of the disciples who came in last time, it should be a 7th level or 8th level person, equivalent to a powerful person in the human race's little golden god realm. It poses no threat to us. Tum Qing hesitated for a moment and then added, but I feel it's more than just that. Since the old man in the valley has reached the holy realm, it's hard to say what kind of monsters there will be in his tomb. Say it. All the disciples of Tomb Spirit sect also became nervous. At the same time, some people's faces became more solemn and serious, as if they felt that these roaring monsters would rush out and bite them at any time. Do you have any confidence in your heart? What kind of monster do you think it might be? Xiao Xian looked at Tum Qing's calm look and couldn't help but ask, why don't you come and listen? At the same time, the disciples of the Tomb Spirit sect also focused on Tum Qing. Obviously, they also want to hear Tum Green's introduction. Alright. In this case, I will tell you my guess. It may not be correct, but it is close to 10. Tum Qing is worthy of being a cultivator who grew up in a tomb. His words aroused the curiosity of many disciples. 6-winged iron hand flame monster. This is the most likely monster. It is a 9th level monster. Its strength reaches the golden god realm of the human race. It likes to devour carrion. It can fly and spit poisonous fire. Its claws are very sharp and can be crushed in one grasp. Human skull. Tum Qing's face was ashen and he said, once, I encountered a juvenile 6-winged iron hand flame monster that killed 3 powerful men in the golden god realm. Say it. The disciples present were all shocked, their eyes widened, and they couldn't believe it. How could a juvenile 6-winged iron hand flame monster kill 3 powerful men in the golden god realm with 1 against 3? If this were an adult 6-winged iron hand flame monster, wouldn't it be 1 against 10? Didn't you say that this 8th level 6-winged iron hand flame monster is equivalent to the human race's powerful golden god realm? He probably didn't know the 8th level when he was young. Why is he so powerful? Xiao Xian couldn't help but ask. That's what I want to say with a little bit of caution. Actually, although these 6-winged iron hand flame monsters are powerful, they are not without their weaknesses. Their eyes are their biggest weakness. As long as they hit their eyes, they will take the initiative to escape. Tum Qing said, it's a pity that almost all the cultivators, when they saw this terrifying 6-winged iron hand flame monster in the dark tomb, their first reaction was to run away, so they were chased one by one. Kill and die. Say it. It turned out to be people from the White Bone sect and the Giant Whale sect. He felt that Tum Qing's explanation seemed a bit counterproductive. Tum Qing hesitated a little. Anyway, you may not encounter any 6-winged iron hand flame monster, just listen to the rumors. I have finally driven away a group of people and are about to search for treasures. You want to take advantage of the situation? Isn't your idea a little too beautiful? Even the leaders of these 2 sects were disgraced. Finally, I met some acquaintances I met outside. Because of the humanoid tomb radar like Tum Qing, they almost avoided a lot of trouble. What if we include whale swallowing? Gu Feng pointed behind him, a chubby guy covered in a layer of blood-red shark skin. The leader of the White Bone sect is a pale, skinny young man. For such an opponent. After all, In such an environment, if an 8th level monster that eats human flesh suddenly appears, a person's first reaction is to run away, but at this time, this kind of behavior is the stupidest. Obviously, they suffered a lot in the tomb. I don't believe that this thing can be so powerful that it can't be defeated. Tomb Green, you are so fucking dreaming. After Tomb Ching's explanation, some Tomb Spirit sect disciples actually shouted slogans, which made Xiaoxian dumbfounded. All the disciples of Tomb Spirit sect also fell into silence. Xiaoxian and Bai Ling nodded, they could understand what Tomb Ching said. Tomb Green immediately alerted everyone, and then stepped forward. Everyone, what do you want to say? Do you want to get out of the way? If he relied on the current Tomb Spirit sect to fight against one of the sects, he still had a good chance of winning, but if the people from the White Bone sect and the Giant Whale sect cooperated, it would be a bit difficult for them to deal with them. If we let them go today, they will be in trouble if we encounter them later. Why not cut the trouble quickly? United, we will win. But the road to enemies is narrow. Not bad, what? Do you want to challenge me? He said angrily. This kind of six-winged iron hand flame monsters usually live in dark caves, and a few live in tombs. The six-winged iron hand flame monsters in these tombs make a living by eating carrion, and their strength is indeed stronger than that of living creatures. You are stronger in the cave. Gu Feng, I see that the situation of your White Bone sect is not going well. Are you at a disadvantage if you want to fight with us? A hint of joy flashed in Tom Ching's eyes. He originally just wanted to pass quickly, but who knew this guy actually let it slip that there was a treasure behind. Can you two sects cooperate? Tom Ching frowned slightly. Interesting. Yes, we have seen your brother Tom Ching here. If we see this thing, we can just kill it. Tom Ching reminded, but fortunately there are many of us. Even if we encounter one, we won't necessarily be afraid. Don't worry too much. But there was animosity between the three families. But he was too lazy to explain anything at this time. However, at this time, the situation of their two sects was much more miserable than outside. Many sect disciples were injured, and some were missing arms or legs. However, this cannot all be blamed on the cultivators. Walk all the way.